Hello YouTube, and welcome back to another episode of Black and White. This is Tyler and I'm Tyler's girlfriend. Before we get into today's topic, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel to support. Alright, so today we are going to be talking about the DHS Terrorism Advisory. So on August 13th, the Department of Homeland Security released a terror advisory. And as it was covered by NBC News, they said that the terror advisory is not based on any actual threats or plots. However, it does go on to claim potential threats from anti-government sentiment, anti-COVID, pro-Trump, and uses 9/11 and religious holidays as triggering this warning, or as reasons why they trigger this warning. So we will not actually read the entire advisory just because it's so long, but we will put a link in the description if you want to read it for yourself. However, yeah, I guess we've just been going back and forth on it. I think that everything that, I can't say everything, but I think that like what has been stated in the advisory is pretty general. In my opinion, I think NBC or whoever covered it is really like making it out to be more than it really is. I think it was like very just straightforward and like to protocol as to what the Department of Homeland Security and the National Terrorism Advisory, whatever, like what they have to do in terms of their job. Like it just seems like they were literally just doing their job. I don't really think like there's anything more to it. I don't think they were targeting specific people. I think they just had to touch base on like everything that has been going on prior to this advisory, and then everything that may be anticipated happening after this advisory was actually put out. However, not everybody sees it that way, and so, yeah.
I just feel like there's a lot of BS gaslighting going on right now.
We made it up. We made this one up. It's a made-up tale. It's a total fabrication. It never happened. It never happened. This one was invented by a writer.
To be honest. Because it all depends on who's in power. Like, in here, and I agree with you, it's general. It's very general, which is actually part of my problem with it, because it is extremely, general. No, that's my thing, is because anyone, we talked about this, anyone could be a terrorist. Anyone.
But that's why they have to be so general, because literally anybody can be a terrorist, so they can't like target somebody in an advisory, because they don't even know, like, people that live below us, they could be terrorists. I'm not saying that they are, but I don't know. Some people sometimes just wake up and decide they want to do something crazy. Like, you literally never know. It's not like people knew Ted Bundy was going to be Ted Bundy before he was Ted Bundy. It was just one day, all this stuff added up to Ted Bundy being who he was. I
just think it's interesting that, like, what my biggest thing was when I first heard it was the anti-government one. Because, I mean, at some point in your life, if you're in any way political, especially politicians themselves, I mean, they are at some point going to be, or state things, or have policies or beliefs that could be easily perceived as being, or defined as being, anti-government. I mean, that's such a general statement.
I agree.
And you talk about COVID restrictions and measures. What, the whole time Trump was in office, what were we hearing from now the people who are in power?
I agree, but I think the key word in this entire advisory is extremist, okay? It's not like anybody that disagrees with the government is now anti-government. I think it means like anti-government extremists. And when I think of that, I think of, the term when they use sleeper cells. I think of people that come here crossing the border with bad intentions and are just here to commit crime because they actually hate America. People that come here under false identities to commit heinous acts, like the Boston bombers. I don't think of Joe Blow on Twitter who says F Joe Biden Trump 2020. You know, like I don't think, or like I don't even think of like Edward Snowden whistleblower. Like I think of actual anti-government extremists who seek to see the downfall of the American establishment on a very grand scale. Like not people that are out to just expose corruption in the government.
Mm-hmm.
But and I personally feel like maybe you know, and maybe other people out there don't feel this way, but I personally feel like that is who they're targeting.
Mm-hmm.
They're not targeting people that have like incredibly Republican social media accounts. Excuse me. I feel like they are targeting people that are like I don't want to say Waco crazy, but like very, very out there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I feel like there really isn't like much to read in the sentiment. I feel like NBC wants people to believe that
Mm-hmm.
they're after people that are pro-Trump,
Mm-hmm.
or people that are against the COVID restrictions, or people that are against vaccines, or people that are pro whatever. Like, I think the news is trying to blow it up to make it seem like, oh, be aware if you don't agree with the people in power, they may be out to get you. But I don't think that is the actual purpose of this.
I actually
Advisory.
think NBC is a pretty, they lean more left. I actually think, I believe, I agree with you that maybe Fox News or something like that would try to do that, but I actually believe that NBC is trying to maybe drum it up a little bit because they want to highlight the significance of January 6th and the storming of the Capitol and this idea that there's this mass movement of Trump voters or supporters who are conspiracy theorists, who are part of QAnon, and who are more likely than any average citizen to be a racist and a white supremacist. And it's this narrative that's created. I'm serious. And it's in here. It's in here. They put it in here. Didn't they put that in here?
It's
Yes.
in there, but
Mhm.
again, it's extremist.
Okay, it's extremists.
Violent.
My point is,
extremists.
as I believe NBC is actually trying to drum it up, but for an alternate, they have an ulterior motive, and that
Okay.
the idea is, it's like they're putting every Trump supporter into a group, right? And it's to alarm us and this is what I'm so concerned about it. It's to alarm us to the presence of someone that might not agree with us or might be a supporter of Trump. And I don't believe that a lot of these things are in and of themselves the definition of extremists. You know, I really find great issues. In the anti-government thing, it's really hard for me. It really is. Because I am extremely anti-government. And
But
I don't
it's
care
not,
who's in power.
It's not
I understand what you're saying. It's not just
having an opinion.
Right.
Or
No, I
not
understand that.
being pro-government or like being against the government or having an opinion that goes against what the government stands for. It's literally like these people that kidnapped that one government official, or like had that plot to kidnap that one lady in like the Midwest. I forget, but it's like that. Like those are anti-government extremists, not the guy that's like, I don't agree with Joe Biden's policies. I don't agree with the way America's handling the whole Afghanistan situation. Like that's not who they're targeting. They're targeting people who actually want to put into action their beliefs.
And maybe my issue is I just don't have a lot of trust in the government and organizations like this.
I just don't trust anybody like that. I don't trust something like that. Open that button. I don't trust like that. Open that button.
Harry's Car Place.
I don't trust like that.
So I feel as though this is just a control tactic, and this is just to get people to shut up, basically. And it's almost like a warning.
Shut up.
What do you mean?
A warning for what?
What do you mean?
How would they shut up? It literally says report suspicious activity. It's like to get people to talk
Yeah, what
as opposed to shut up.
What is suspicious activity?
Okay, suspicious
could be
activity.
anything.
Suspicious activity was that guy that was sitting in his van,
Mm-hmm.
and the cops received several complaints that he was threatening to blow it up and that he had bombs, and they did absolutely nothing, and he freaking blew it up and detonated his van in the middle of downtown Nashville. That's suspicious activity.
Really dropped the ball on that one.
Okay, that's who they're targeting. And I think like the reason why they have to add all this stuff in is because when people do things like that, like when they just blow up their van, you will never get a reason why. Like, and this is one thing that I learned while working in a mental hospital with psychiatric patients. Some people will commit, or a lot of people that commit violent acts will never tell you why they did it. Like, you'll never get the truth behind it. And they do that purposely because they know everybody wants the reason why. So they don't give it to you. So the Homeland Security or Department of Homeland Security has to offer up potential motives as to why somebody would do that, because they'll never actually get the reason why. I mean, we'll never know if that guy wanted to blow up his truck in downtown Nashville because he just freaking hated the Titans, or he hated Nashville, or he hated his life, or because, you know, the people in power in Nashville did something to him and he wanted revenge. You will never know. I will never know. No one will ever know. So the Department of Homeland Security has to give up potential motives as to why they think somebody would do something like that, using things that are going on in society at this moment.
So DHS will continue to identify and evaluate calls for violence. Great. Absolutely necessary. Including, this is where they lose me, including online activity associated with the spread of disinformation, conspiracy theories, and false narratives by known or suspected threat actors, and provide updated information as necessary. So, if you engage in the spread of what they claim, because they're the dictators of this, is disinformation, or you spread conspiracy theories or false narratives,
but it has to be a call for violence associated with that. So it has to be a conspiracy and then also a call for violence because of said conspiracy.
That is how it's written. I do not believe that's how it will be enforced.
I just don't trust anybody like that.
Okay.
I don't. That's just my opinion.
Okay,
I think that this
okay.
is going to be used. This is going to be used to shut down any potential run for Trump re-election. Any type of run. I think this is I think this is political. I think it's political. I think this is aimed at Trump supporters. It's aimed at what?
Well, it's aimed at Trump supporters if they're calling for violence.
Yeah.
It is.
Right.
It is. It is. And honestly, it should be, because whether you support Trump or you don't support Trump, you shouldn't be calling for violence.
I do have to mention that the Taliban are active on Twitter right now, but Donald Trump does not have a Twitter account. So I'll just say that.
It's so funny that because on Twitter, right, you can like mass post all these videos of Al Qaeda, whether it be Al Qaeda dancing to freaking Drake, or Al Qaeda, just like Al Qaeda torturing Afghani people. You could just massively spread it, but like, you will get your account deactivated if you say anything pro-Trump. Like, you can be like, oh, Trump 2024, we will rise again, and they will ban you off Twitter. But you could spread everything that Al Qaeda is doing with no problem. People legitimately laugh and meme it like it's a freaking joke, but it's a serious thing.
Yeah, I just really feel like this is in some ways to scare people to just kind of shut up, to not be involved in some of the conversations that go on social media regarding, you know, beliefs on whether it's the election or COVID or whatever it is. I'm sorry, I get the terrorism thing. I understand that we need to be proactive against terrorism, and you know, whether that's investigation or surveillance, whatever it is, I understand that. But I just take issue with the idea that, you know, misinformation and conspiracy theories are going to lead to some significant terrorism widespread. It could. I'm not saying it couldn't. Anything's possible, but I really believe that their motives, my thing is where their motives are. I think they're very misguided, and I don't think that this is out of our best interest. I think it's to get people that don't fall politically in line with their agenda to just shut up and to be afraid to have some of this discourse online. You know, and there's people that I see on Twitter that I read what they wrote, and I'm like, that's completely crazy. We might believe some of the same things, you know, as far as conservative values or political beliefs, But I could think that one of the things they say is crazy, but I've never once looked at them and said, oh, that's potential terrorism right there.
I don't
Never.
think that's what this is doing.
I'm not saying it is, but my
unless
point
it's
is
like
I
a
think
call for
I think the
violence.
idea is to also get people to just be afraid to have that type of discourse, whether it's, you know, being critical of the COVID-19 restrictions or mandates or policies, or
I don't think so.
I could be wrong. I don't, you know.
I mean, I respect that you think so, and I'm not trying to convince you out of that opinion. I just don't.
Well, it's
feel
not. I'm
that
not
way.
stating a fact. I'm just being skeptical. I just question. I question their motives. That's ultimately what I question.
I just don't. I like. If you worked for the Department of Homeland Security and they were like, "Hey, Tyler, we anticipate like we are just going to go on high alert for this time period, right? You know, it's 9/11, bad things happen then. A lot of people hate America, and there's potential for a terrorism attack, whether it be domestic. And again, domestic does not mean by an American citizen. It just means within America. But whether it's domestic or international, whatever, and we need you to come up with 5 to 10 motives as to why somebody would commit a terrorist attack
Mhm.
around this time,
Mhm.
between this time period. What would you do? Like, what would your motives be?
What would my motives be?
Yeah, if they were like, come up with 5 to 10 motives as to why somebody would commit a terrorist attack between August 13th and November 11th of this year.
Mhm.
Go. That's your job.
That's pretty hard. I think there's quite. I would think there'd be many reasons.
Yeah, I mean, like, come up with 5 to 10. Like, what would some of yours be? What would some of yours be? What's going on in society, with the
Mhm.
climate of how things are domestically? What would your reasons be?
I don't know. What would yours be?
One would definitely be just for like anti-government, just hatred of
Mhm.
America, hatred of democracy.
Yeah, that's been around
Not-
forever, though.
But that's the thing. Anti-government's
that's
not
not
like
new.
exactly. But that's why I can see why they put it in there. Okay, like 9/11, duh, terrorist.
Yeah, but my point is, why do we need to
duh,
know that?
hatred
Like,
of
everybody
democracy.
knows that.
But not everybody does. You can't say everybody
Okay,
knows that. You've
okay.
been on Twitter. You know how dumb
Okay.
people are. You think my siblings go out there and they're like, oh yeah, 9/11. I bet you 9/11 will roll around and they wouldn't even be like, oh, 9/11 when the terrorist
Mhm.
attack and the
Mhm.
Pentagon and World Trade Center.
Mhm.
No, it'll just be September 11th, 2021.
Mm-hmm.
Another day, another TikTok, another Instagram, another story. Okay, like
Mhm.
people are getting further and further from it, and people are so focused on like what's going on in their everyday life that unless you have a veteran or somebody that has been impacted by the event or anything like that, you're not really that aware of it. It kind of just comes and goes. So yeah, my number one motive would be like a hatred for democracy, which would fall under anti-government.
I think that would fall under government. A hatred for democracy.
It'd be anti-government.
I mean,
'cause our
I
government is
believe the
democracy,
people in
so
power.
it'd be
I believe our government
anti-government.
officials hate democracy, but that's a whole nother video. Go ahead.
Okay, it'd be anti-government. Another one would be definitely racially or ethnically motivated, like screw Americans, rise other whatever, races, ethnicities, whatever, nationalities. Another one would be, I don't know, I honestly would probably resort to the same thing. What's been going on, riots over Black Lives Matter, right? Put that in there too, but that also already falls under racially and ethnically motivated, so you don't have to single out any group or organization.
What about anti-American? Like,
That would
why
be-
not government? Why,
that would
why
be
separate that from
ethnically,
government? Because,
racially
I
motivated.
mean, ethnically, racially.
Well, and nationally, but like, it'd
Mhm.
just be nationally motivated, but
Yeah.
like,
Mhm.
first, if somebody else is, it
Mm-hmm.
like falls under there. I know ethnicity and nationality are two completely different things. Same with race and ethnicity are two completely different things. But like, it all kind of falls under that umbrella. And then yeah, I would have to just rely on, because anything else would probably be like a personal motive. Like a personal motive that you really cannot predict or anticipate. So I would have to, like, that was only really like 2, maybe 3. I would have to fall under like, okay, COVID, you know, political affiliation in terms of whether you want to see somebody out of office or someone in office, and yeah. I would literally just have to put that, because those are the only things you can't really anticipate a personal motive.
Yeah, I just don't think, I question their motives. I keep going back to that because we've now just handed over Afghanistan to the Taliban, but yet we're so concerned with terrorism. And yet, where did the 9/11 attackers come from? Oh, wait, yeah. So we got terrorists at home, but the terrorists across the sea are fine. We can't drill here, but we can beg other people in other parts of the world to drill so that we have lower gas prices.
6.5 hours later.
Needless to say, the Department of Homeland Security has issued a National Terrorism Advisory from August 13th through November 11th of this year. Check it out if you want to check it out. Read it entirely if you want a fully informed opinion. And I guess leave a comment down below on how you feel about it. Let us know. Anyways, I think that's pretty much it for this video. Like we said in the beginning, like, comment, and subscribe. And we will see you next time on another episode of Black and White.